This didn't happen to me personally. It happened to my friend Jake's uncle Mike. But I've known Jake my whole life, and when he told me what went down, what he saw with his own eyes, it changed how I think about old houses, about basements, about silence. You ever hear something that just sticks in your head like gum under a shoe? That's this story. It's been stuck in my head ever since. Mike was just your regular guy, mid-50s, blue-collar, no-nonsense type. He'd worked on cars his whole life, didn't believe in any ghost crap, straight shooter, didn't scare easy. He was the kind of guy who kept a flashlight in his glove box and changed his own oil in the middle of winter. Real old school. After his wife died, cancer, he kinda unplugged from everything. Didn't talk much, didn't go out, just existed. And after a couple years of that, he decided he needed a change. Somewhere quiet, somewhere with space to breathe. So he moved, bought himself an old house up in rural Pennsylvania, a little bit outside of Scranton. Nothing fancy, but it had 2 floors, a big backyard, a garage, and it was dirt cheap, like suspiciously cheap. That should have been the first red flag. The place had been empty for years, about a decade. The previous owner had died in the living room. Heart attack, natural causes, no drama. But nobody touched the house after that, just sat there, falling apart. Locals avoided it, not because of ghosts or anything like that, but because something about it just didn't sit right. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and it feels like you're intruding, like you're not supposed to be there? Yeah, that was the whole house. Mike, being Mike, didn't care. He saw it as a fixer-upper. He figured, hey, I'll clean it up, maybe flip it in a few years. He moved in the first week of fall, trees just starting to turn, air getting cold at night, the whole place surrounded by woods on one side. He started working on it right away. Ripped up carpets, cleaned out the gutters, patched some drywall. Everything seemed fine for the first couple weeks. Just a lonely guy fixing up an old house. He didn't even notice anything weird at first. The sounds, the feeling, none of it. Until he went into the basement. Now this basement was like something out of a horror movie. Single hanging bulb, exposed pipes, dusty concrete, spider webs in every corner. It was huge but cold, always cold. He was down there fixing a leaky pipe along the back wall when he noticed something strange. One section of the wall sounded different when he knocked on it, like hollow. The rest was solid concrete, but that part? Hollow, like something was behind it. He got curious, grabbed a hammer and started tapping around, found the edges. Eventually, he pried away a few boards and uncovered this weird, narrow door. No knob, just flat, painted over wood, like it wasn't meant to be found, and it was nailed shut. Not locked, nailed, like someone really didn't want it opened. But Mike? Curiosity always got the better of him. So he pulled the nails out, forced it open, and inside was this little room. It wasn't really a room. It was more like a cell, just big enough for someone to sit in. Concrete floor, bare walls, no windows, no shelves, no boxes, nothing stored in it, just a single wooden chair, right in the middle, facing the wall. Mike told Jake the smell hit him first, like mildew, sweat, and something burnt. He said it smelled like a locker room left out in the sun for days. He didn't go in, just stood there staring at this creepy chair and the deep scratch marks all over the concrete wall in front of it, like someone had been clawing at it, desperate, not with tools, with fingers. And they were old, faded, but some of them didn't look that old. He didn't touch anything, didn't go in, just backed out and left the door open. That night things changed. He started hearing noises, scraping mostly. Not loud, not constant, just once in a while. Always at night, always coming from the basement. The first couple nights he figured it was rats, maybe squirrels, but it didn't sound like an animal. It sounded like fingernails on concrete. Then came the whispering. The first time he heard it, he was asleep. Woke up around 3:13 in the morning. He looked at the clock because it felt like he was having a nightmare. But the whispering was still going when he opened his eyes. Faint, like someone was talking just outside his bedroom door. Not words, just the sound of breath moving through lips. He got up, opened the door. Nothing. but the air smelled burnt and cold, colder than it should have been. He walked to the top of the stairs. The basement light was on. He swore he turned it off, and the door cracked open just enough to see that dark space beyond it. The next morning, the chair had moved. It wasn't facing the wall anymore. It was facing the door. The scratch marks looked newer, like someone had picked up where the last person left off. He told Jake about it. That was the first time he ever admitted something was wrong. He said he didn't believe in ghosts, but something was off about that room. Like it wasn't just a room, like it was hiding something. He tried to ignore it, but every night around 3:13, the house would change. Lights would flicker, the smell would return. Mirrors would fog up even when the house was cold. Sometimes he'd catch glimpses of something in the reflection. Not a face, not a figure, just movement, like someone walking past the edge of the mirror. The dreams got worse, always the same. He was sitting in the chair facing the wall, paralyzed, and he could hear breathing behind him, closer every night, until he could feel it on his neck. Warm, wet, but he could never turn around. Then came the attic. He hadn't even been up there, didn't need to, but one morning he woke up and something felt wrong. He couldn't explain it, just that something was waiting. He went through the house checking every room, ended up at the attic ladder. He climbed up. The chair was there, the same one, just sitting in the middle of the attic, under the only light bulb, facing the wall. He didn't bring it up there. He swore on his life. That's when he stopped sleeping, stopped eating, started drinking again. Jake came over that weekend, found him sitting on the living room floor with all the lights on. The guy looked like he hadn't slept in a week, bags under his eyes, shaking hands, staring at nothing. Jake asked him what happened. Mike said, "It's not in the room anymore." Jake didn't understand at first. Then Mike looked up and said, "I let it out." That night, Jake heard the whispers too. He stayed on the couch, woke up at 3:13 on the dot, said it sounded like someone breathing directly into his ear, but no one was there. They checked the basement together the next morning. The chair was back, in the original room, facing the wall, like it never moved. That was the last time Mike went near it. A week later, he was checked into a hospital, not because of the room, but because he'd stopped responding. He just sat in his kitchen chair, repeating the same line. "They moved the walls." Over and over. Doctors thought it was grief, delayed trauma, whatever. But Jake knew better. Because 2 days after Mike left the house, Jake woke up in his apartment, 3:13 a.m., and the chair, the same one, was sitting in the corner of his room, facing the wall. He blinked, and it was gone. But the scratches, they weren't. 3 long, fresh gouges down the inside of his bedroom door. No one else had a key. No one else came in. The house Mike bought? Still empty. Still standing. People say they see lights flicker in the attic sometimes. Local teens dare each other to go inside. Nobody lasts more than a few minutes. One kid came out crying, wouldn't talk, just kept saying, "I heard it." Mike never went back. Jake doesn't talk about it anymore. And me? I haven't slept through the night in months, because sometimes I wake up at 3:13, and I swear I can hear whispering.